Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with you, Comic Roundup. We've made it through most of this week's books. Now it's time to wrap things up with this week's Batman books. Kicking things off, we've got Batman number 137. Continuing Gotham War. Where we left off in Gotham War Battle Lines, Catwoman had explained her plan to the Bat family. Most of them seem to be open-minded, but hesitant. Tim Drake, namely, saying that more data was needed. Jason Todd was on board completely. However, Batman and Damian were very much against it. And when one of the former henchmen turned thieves that Catwoman had trained was killed, well, Batman decided that, yeah, all bets are off. So the issue begins with Hoops and one of the others making their way into a penthouse, only to discover that Batman is waiting on them. The job is ruined. The job is stopped. Apparently, one of the powered thieves, named Fright, lets off some fear toxin, which doesn't even seem to phase him. In fact, seemingly makes him laugh. Went to the Iceberg Lounge, took down Scorpiona and Vox. And Marquise points out that this isn't good. Yeah, and Catwoman figures the only way to deal with him is with his biggest mistake, Jason. Tim comes upon Batman and kind of points out that Batman's been through a lot, and maybe take things easy. Tim points out that the assault and murder rate is down, and that the numbers don't lie. Batman is saying that they do their best to save everyone. With Batman adding as he swoops off into the night that if he finds out that Tim helped the criminal he just busted get away, well, Batman will arrest Tim himself. Dick, Babs, and Tim and Stephanie are talking about things, and Jason as well, and pointing out that Bruce is kind of on a rampage, out of control. Though Babs thinks it's the opposite. He's doing it to be in control after being asleep for weeks, then flung about the multiverse. And so, Batgirl, Stephanie asks how they're going to handle, Selina, the Selina of it all. But Tim and Steph don't while trying to stick with what Catwoman suggested, they kind of it feels weird. Tim said it feels like they're in a holding pattern, and Tim also giving a shortened version of his run-in with Batman the previous night. Tim is worried about what Batman's going to do and how far he's going to go. Bab says though if Selina asks for help, she'd be inclined to give it. Jason chimes in saying that Selina's right in she's saving lives. Every thief Batman stops just drives them back to the old ways, being henchmen, to violence. Which, as far as Jason's concerned, means that Bruce is responsible for that violence. So they have to stop him, or at the very least, stay one step ahead of him. Babs points out that while Batman took out the monitors, his suit's monitors, the tracker is still active. They're still intact. And so she's going to give all of them access to Batman's whereabouts so that they can at least not have confrontations with him. Dick suggests that Jason be chill, and he says he's also going to try and talk Bruce off his moral ledge. Of course, Jason states he won't do anything rash, while Marquise is literally in the room with him. While Mad Hatter comes to a meetup with Professor Pig, Scarecrow, Calendar Man, Two-Face, Ventriloquist, Firefly, and Black Mask. A plan is underway to potentially free some of Selina's girls, some of Selina's people, but Batman realizes it's a trick. A drone came after her. Alleytown is attacked by Batman, and him and Jason go head to head. Tim joins in on Jason's side, and then the rest of the kids show up. Cassandra makes the first strike. So Batman takes her out quickly. Next, deal with Duke. Then Stephanie, who has no eye protection. She'll blind her and move quickly. Batman states that tells himself he knows all their moves. He taught them their moves. And they think that they'll know his. Dick and Jason double team Batman and knock him out of the building. Jason following up, but Damian stops Jason. And saves Batman. Afterwards, Duke finds someone being tied to a chair in a closet. It's the driver of a police transport, as the driver's been replaced by Lady Clayface. And so, the group the four that were brought in the previous night are freed, but Marquise calls up Selina and states that Batman hit Alleytown. Everyone's scattered. Suffice to say that Selina's not happy about this. Damien fawns over Bruce's mechanical hand, but there's a knock at the door. A man from Gotham National. They've been trying to get a hold of him for weeks. But he was, of course, Bruce Wayne was on a wellness retreat. Yoga, champagne, no phones, that sort of thing. Apparently, though, the financing of the building required using Wayne Manor as collateral. But he's told us probably pay more attention to his financials and less the champagne vacations. The manor has been bought. Bruce returns to the cave, has some discussions with Zur-En-Arrh, and we learn who it is that bought the manor. Vandal Savage. And he's discovered the cave. And that is where the issue ends. I often do have some criticisms of stories that are basically hero versus hero. Largely because more often than not, especially in something like this where it's a crossover between two books and each character's core book is a central portion of the crossover. Neither one is one while having a view that is shown to be the not good view. Example: Civil War. Tony Stark being pro-registration, Captain America being anti-registration. Justifications were made to explain why it was Tony was pro-registration. And these were justifications that made sense. Maybe they weren't exactly in line with the character's history, but they made sense. This crossover, Batman is very clearly being painted as the villain. And rightly so. His need for control, and in fact, I'd even go so far as to say at the end of the battle lines one shot, Batman seemed almost happy that one of Selina's thieves was killed. Gave him a reason to go hard, basically. I'm not entirely fond of the concept, but yeah. One of them does, one needs to be the definitive bad guy. And I guess when I initially heard about this crossover, I kind of figured that the idea would be, if they did go with one being definitively the bad guy, it would be Catwoman. She's the former thief. She has been a villain, so yeah, made sense. I'm surprised and impressed that the villain is Batman. Moving on to our next book, though, we've got Birds of Prey #1. So Birds of Prey has been I want to say a staple of DC for a while, but it's a fairly common concept that pops up time to time. Initially, for a while, it was largely Huntress, Batgirl, Oracle, initially Oracle, Barbara Gordon, either way, and Black Canary, and then some points of the various series had others brought in as well. Wildcat, Big Barda, so on and so forth. So we're getting a new Birds of Prey book. The first issue is largely just putting the team together. It seems this takes place after the still running Green Arrow book. But Dinah's recruiting. First going for Sandra Kane, an absolute badass, can fight any single person on Earth to a standstill. Not hyperbole. Dealing with League of Assassins at the moment. Dinah helps out. and is easy to recruit. The only downside being, that Cass can't tell Barbara about it. That's the one bit of hesitation, but yeah. Um, but the next recruit is Big Barda, who Cass is sent to bring in. She does so. They deal with some disciple of Bloody Mary, a former teammate of Barda's. Dealing with them fairly simply. Barda constantly refers to Batgirl as Small Bat. Next to be recruited is Zana, or Zealot. When she arrives, when she's ready to leave, however, well, Zana's boyfriend, Cole Grifter, is awake. Neither are too happy to see one another, but, well, Grifter's not involved. Apparently, this is Canary calling it her marker. What we do know is that about this mission is that Dinah needs to rescue her sister, Sin. But so the quartet meet up, and but Dinah feels like they need a fifth. Cass makes a suggestion. Harley Quinn telling a story. Sometime last year, both of them were in an apartment. Were in an apartment. A fight broke out between the two of them, and Harley almost won. With they basically need something that's unknown. And Cass states that, you want the unexpected? That's Harley Quinn. So, they go to Gotham, come upon Harley dealing with some clown goons, save her, and kind of just stand there, and, that they want to, they might want her on a team. But, Harley has some thoughts on it, and points out that the four of them basically showed up, saying that the four of them just kind of showed up and were like, looking like a bunch of badasses, but rather than say, hey, we want you to join our team. But Batgirl manages to talk her into it, and talking Dinah into it, and Harley gets the scoop that they're going to save Dinah's sister, Sin. And, well, especially seeing as how Sin's only 16, Harley's in, saying that she wants to make sure that cool ass little girls get to grow up to be cool ass women. Turns out that Sin is being held in Themyscira. And is to be executed, which will accidentally bring about the end of the world. And that is where the issue ends. Strong start, good stakes. See how it all plays out. Moving on to our next book, we've got Joker, Man Who Stopped Laughing, number 10. Where we left off, The Jokers were both in Gotham, and both seemingly trying to take the other out, thinking that the other is, of course, the real that the other is the imposter. Joker's working. One is working with Black Mask, utilizing his Joker toxin, but Black Mask states that Joker calls himself a crime boss, and Black Mask says that to be a crime boss, you have to have employees. And, well, apparently, from what Black Mask hears, Joker can't find anyone to work for him. But, and yes, Joker has had to lower his standards a lot. On the waterfront, Red Hood is questioning Scarface. And even shoots the puppet. But the Joker that's working with Black Mask is the one that was shot at the beginning of the series. Underneath Gotham, well, throughout Gotham, more of Joker's goons are being handled by the other Joker's henchmen. And so, everyone's pulled back to the warehouse by Shocky. At the warehouse, 20 minutes later at the warehouse, Red Hood, Ravager, and Batgirl, Stephanie, find Shocky rather badly beaten. When Manhunter shows up, truce is called, but, well, police are en route. Well, they all want to get some questions answered by, well, Shocky. A little after that, when Shocky is taken to Gotham General, Joker bursts in disguised as a cop, talks to the doctor, jokes with the doctor he messed with earlier in the series, and then proceeds to kill Shocky. Comes upon the kid reading comics and tries the chemo the kid's on. Reads the comic for a bit, but we got a backup story. Making him a Monster 123. One of Joker's goons is his gas mask seems to be working, and so when he's able to survive the gas, he's subjected to surgery with anesthetic from Professor Pig, and basically turned into a second Joker. For a while, used as a decoy. However, the decoy begins to plot on his own. Each issue, so to date, has had a backup story that should potentially give an origin for the secondary Joker. Which one is true? We may never know. But that is where the issue ends. I gotta say, this book does really kind of feel like it's being dragged out at this point. It was fun and novel, but at this point, it feels like it's being dragged on. Like Rosenberg doesn't know where to end it, what to do with the ending. Hopefully, something will change with it soon, but I don't really see that happening. Moving on, though, to our last book for the week, we've got Poison Ivy number 14. Where we left off before Night Terrors, Ivy was trying to get a small place in Slaughter Swamp from killing Croc. Croc had pointed her toward in the direction of a building that some odd stuff was going on at. She is investigating and immediately found a dead body with a flower growing from its face. The flower is not poison. Ivy continues to explore the building. Finds out that the place is owned by Undyne Holdings, wondering where she heard the name before. She calls up Janet from HR, asking her to look it up. Apparently, Peter Undyne owns the company. Not a lot about him, but he was brought in by Lex Luthor after back during No Man's Land. Apparently, never left. Harley pops in briefly to tell Janet that Janet should probably get her own place because Harley's place isn't exactly big enough for her, Ivy, and Janet. And with Harley adding that, it's nothing against Janet, it's, Janet's normal, it's kind of soothing. But Ivy continues her checking out the building and finds a room that's a three-dimensional, basically a surrealist painting come to life. Besides, nope, she's getting out of there. Croc can keep the place at the swamp. Janet opts to go undercover at Undyne Holdings, applies for a job, and it does kind of seem like she's not going to get that job, but at least that's how she puts it. Leaves a message for Ivy about it, and runs into Batman, who suggests that Janet, get out of things. She's not a sidekick for a terrorist. But Janet smacks him in the face with her bag and tries to run. Is grabbed by Harley. The two of them talk for a bit. Janet even asks if her and Harley are the bad guys in the story. And, but she says it's hard to say who's good or bad because everyone switches sides at least once. So, the question doesn't make sense. Which leads to which leads to Janet and Harley kissing. Back with Ivy, the building she's in, her phone has no signal. And, whatever's going on takes the form of a man with a flower on his face. And he states that, a flower for a head, I should say, that the building, as well, much like Ivy himself, is becoming something else. And that is where the issue ends. I've been loving this book. It's been a great ride. I love it. I love that Ivy's back in Gotham. Not sure my thoughts yet on Janet and Harley's kiss, but we'll see where it goes. But anyway, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Big shout out to Patreon patrons Xander Lee. Thank you so much for your support. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Mastodon, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.